with the enemy. That's right. Hey, Nancy. Are you sleeping with the enemy? We could take it a step further and say, have you ever slept with the enemy? Now, y'all. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad it's looking good. The sound is good. We're talking about tonight. Are you sleeping with the enemy? What does that mean? Y'all know, look, the enemy comes in all shapes, sizes, orientation, races. This is definitely one for everyone. And he's able to send his representative in because we don't recognize his representative. So we're going to talk about it tonight. And for the guys who get in there, I hate to say this, ladies, but they got some guys, they sleeping with the enemy too. The enemy has some distinct characteristics. Are you sleeping with the enemy? As y'all know, I have a credit restoration company. And what I have found, hey, I think that's Sheila Eccles I see, is that the credit is directly related to people's relationships. So by default, when I'm talking to different clients and different realtors, hey, Diane, then it's so crazy because over this past year since I started my company, I'm supposed to be fixing credit, but it's kind of turned into somewhat of Ilyana fix my life kind of deal because I'm hearing so many stories and I have to maintain a certain disposition. But with some of these women, I want to tell them, Equifax is not your problem. Earl is the problem. Eric is the problem. Troy is the problem. With some of these men, it's not TransUnion, it's Tranel is the problem. Tina is the problem. Kim is the problem. Are you sleeping with the enemy? Sometimes we fall into situations, and I want to believe that everybody, in the beginning, I want to believe everybody has good intentions, but the real truth of the matter is everybody who doesn't. People enter your life for one or two reasons. They've either come to bless you or they've come to curse you. And it is up to us to recognize why are they here. For some of us, we should be turning on that old Yolanda Adams song. And they had a line in it that says, how did you get here? You're not supposed to be here. Because there are some people who have come into our lives who are not supposed to be there. Sometimes they're only supposed to be in your life for a season. But through distraction, sometimes satisfaction, we've allowed them to stay too long. And they've worn out their season and their purpose. Sometimes people enter your life and the enemy has sent them there because he could see where you were supposed to go. He could see your assignment. He could see your destiny. And they've come into your life to break you. At the same time, there's some people who've come into your life and without them, you're not going to be able to manifest your destiny. And so those are the people to hold on to. The secret of it all is to understand who is who and what you really need to do. So we're going to talk about it this evening. Are you sleeping with the enemy? What spawned, what, thank you for that heart. What prompted me to talk about this subject, like I said, is that on a daily basis as I'm reviewing with my team, we have new clients coming in, clients existing. We are dealing with people who are trying to go from one level to the next. They're trying to attain certain things in their lives. And because of credit issues, they can't move from point A to point B. They can't get where they're going. They can't do what they want to do. But what you find when you dig deeper is you're asking questions, and they're going to tell you the whole story. It comes out is that the biggest problem for a lot of them isn't the surface issues, it's the underlying issues, and it's usually relationship issues a lot of times. And then sometimes it gets really, really ugly. And then there's been situations where we've been able, through fixing their credit, to fix the relationship. And so it's just been a really cool dichotomy for me. So tonight we're going to go into, are you sleeping with the enemy? Now, for my ladies, I read a post. And that post said, and this is what really just had me thinking about everything all around, was, it said, does he love you, or does he just love the way you love him? And I started thinking about that. Thinking about that for my different ladies. I went way back to some enemies that I had been with in my past. For the men, Brian and Keith, y'all weren't on here earlier, but the title is, are you sleeping with the enemy? And even though In the Closet is, primarily designed for women, there are some men who are sleeping with the enemy. That's right. You can't get anywhere because you have attached yourself to a female enemy. So we've all dealt with some enemies. I know I have. Throughout our dating, if you've grown, if you've been married once or twice, if you've had a relationship. I told my girlfriend earlier today, I said, the topic's going to be sleeping with the enemy. She said, girl, I just got rid of an enemy. I was like, oh my God. And in the post, it said, does he love you, or does he just love the way you love him? And I said, that was deep. The person you're with, do they love you, or do they just love the way you love them? Do they love the convenience you provide? Do they love the wisdom you bring to the table? Do they love you, or do they just love the way you love them? You got to ask yourself that. How did you get here? Why are you here? What is their purpose in your life? For those of us who are Christian, if you're another religion, from what I understand from the religions I've reviewed, not practiced, but reviewed, it's all about purpose. If you're just a spiritual person, you believe that the whole universe, the earth, I think that they have purpose. For me, the God I serve is a God of purpose. He's a God of truth and a God of order. And so one obvious thing is when you get with someone and there is no order. Hi, Antoinette. There's definitely evidence of the enemy. Are you sleeping with the enemy? So how will you know that you are sleeping with the enemy? Well, what are the signs of sleeping with the enemy? What's going to go on around you? How are you going to know that you're sleeping with the enemy? Well, I'm going to tell you. And I'm not necessarily going to go in order, but this one is a no-brainer. And this was based on, I thought back to just being younger and one of my girlfriends, and the back and forth they were going on, and then even being grown. Does he maintain relationships? Hey, Cynthia, with people you have cut off? Hey, Carlos, sleeping with the enemy. Are you sleeping with the enemy? We at number one. How do you know you're sleeping with the enemy? Do they maintain relationships with people you have cut off? Now, some people may say, well, Pastor Jen, that's petty. That's not petty. The Word of God says you either for me or against me. So I'm like, what would Jesus do? If I'm not, hey, if you've ever gone to, those of y'all who used to club, I used to be having, I like to dance. You've been to a club and, some of those clubs, they get a little rah-rah. It's understood. And this is something I've never been able to have, which some man could explain to me. Because the only man that I've ever witnessed who moved like what I'm about to say is my husband. I've seen him. I'm kind of scared of what I would tell him if someone offended me, because he's always just got my back. He was ready to go. But you notice in the club, people, there'd be altercations. And how many times have you looked over by the bar on the dance floor? If they hit his bar, he jumping in. You hit my girl, I got a Heineken, I got something. We ready to war. That's my girl. I'm jumping in. It's understood. That's understood with friends. Why is a problem? Because your friend spoke to me. Why we gotta think about it twice when it's family member? Why are you having such a problem defending me? What's different? Because, see, you're either for me or against me. Are you sleeping with the enemy? For people who have had issues with this, baby mama drama, you better find out, because I know of several situations. He might tell you something in front of her, but what's going on behind your back? Can he be trusted behind your back? If I fell out with my cousin, that's my cousin. You can't determine my relationship with my cousin, but you in Walmart chatting it up with my cousin. I mean, and then when I said, why you spoke to, well, that's between y'all. It's between me and thee. How we gonna be one? And that ought to be easy. So I've never been able to understand how, if you were, especially in the club with your boy, and they jumping him, you don't even know these people, you running with a bottle, you ready to swing, security taking y'all out. But you lay down with me and you got a problem defending me, who cook for you, me, who iron your clothes, me. Well, I'm just saying, ladies, I'm just putting that out there. Are you sleeping with the enemy? Does he respect you when you're not around? I'm just saying that's number one. Are you sleeping with the enemy? Cynthia said it's so true. That's the first one. Number two, are you sleeping with the enemy? And it's for men too. Is the person you're with secretly sabotaging you so that you can't get ahead? Are they secretly sabotaging you so that you can't get ahead? Now you may say, why would they do that? Hey, Charlene, let me tell you why they would do that. And this is the only time they would do that. Okay. First of all, if you have an idea, especially if you have a God-given idea, the person you're with ought to do everything they can to help manifest that idea. Let me give you an example. When I got with my husband, we were just dating, and he told me, he'd been called to pastor. Then it was my God-given, it's my attitude that, hey, whatever you're doing, God, I'm backing you. I got you. We'll be in this together. Later years, when God gave me my book that I wrote, Wife Positioning, Attract Your Husband. Well, at the time that I was actually halfway caring for my dad. I was working, but then the hospital I worked for closed. He made sure that book still got printed, packaged. The only thing that stopped me from going to the conferences I was booked at was COVID came. Corona, we ran into Corona. My dad got sick, but then we also ran into coronavirus. Hey, Lady King. So what am I saying? Whether you in ministry, or you trying to do a rap album, whatever you got going on, you want to be a contractor, you're trying to go to school, are they supporting you? Or are they sabotaging you? And I'm going to go back to support. What is sabotage? What is sabotage? Wow. You're all excited. Hey, Zeta, there is a family activity. At the last minute, they're not going. Your friend get married. And that's a couple situation. You want to go to the wedding. Last minute, they're not showing up. Y'all got plans. You got plans. And last minute, their friend, they have to run out and help their friend with something. You're not a priority. They're secretly sabotaging you so you can't get ahead, or they promise you to have a certain amount of money you have to put down on a situation, something you're trying to do, and they're not, look like they're totally working against you. Then guess what? But when it's time for them, things are smooth. They ready. With the enemy. I have another one for you. Are they constantly trying to dim your light, your glow up? What does that mean? Well, for the ladies out there, Housewives has been out, 10, almost 20 years? And I was reading an article. And when Housewives came out, people had, one thing it did was, you've always known that celebrities and the super rich lived a certain lifestyle. It didn't seem maybe so reachable and so attainable to the average woman. And I know what you're saying. Oh, the ladies on the Real Housewives, most of them are rich, but some of them not that rich, and some of them, as y'all found out in the tabloids, that's just the front. What it did is women could suddenly see, by watching the Real Housewives, that all of them wasn't super beautiful and all of them wasn't super fine. They looked like you and me. They were women we could relate to. And they had some things that, you can attain. And they were starting businesses. And for some of them, you watched the businesses grow. It gave a new inspiration. It created a whole movement. Like I said, I read a whole article on this. But for some men, that's kind of scary. Because they feel like you changed. And all of a sudden, you done went from Florida to Kardashian. You all of a sudden, you're doing your lashes. You're doing your makeup. And it's not that you were told so much dissatisfied with where you were, but you want to do more. You're moving forward. You have a new confidence. Well, guess what? The person in your life who tries to do that, how do they do that? By saying things like, Carlos, you too old for that. Sabrina, why you want to do that? You ain't 25. You ain't, they start reminding you of your age. They start, you watching certain characters that you may like, and they talking bad about them, and kind of almost trying to make you feel guilty about something that you're doing that's just making you happy. Everybody deserve a little happiness. I never read in the Word of God where you can't be fly, you can't look good. Now, we do everything in moderation. We don't need to look like we're going to the Met Gala half naked. But ain't nothing wrong with being cute. I've never read that. And I'm kind of versed a little bit in the good book. And so the person who is afraid of your glow up and downplaying it, and just trying to come up, you trying to get good energy, they trying to bring you down. You might be sleeping with the enemy. Because God is going to always, God is love. People love to say that when you don't agree with something that is totally out of order. They quick to shift. Well, God is love. Well, guess what? God is fabulousness too. So y'all write that down. God is love. God is self-love. Because you can't love others if you don't love yourself. And so anybody who would be bringing you down and trying to discourage you from motivating yourself and just being fabulous. Something wrong with being fabulous, y'all. Because guess what? The woman who feels fabulous, you're going to be a good mom. Yes. You feel good about you. Your child break a glass, you're not all over the place screaming. It's all right. It's just a glass. You're feeling rich. We got another glass. But when you're not feeling good about yourself and you all uptight, then guess what? That energy transcends to your job, transcends to your mothering, transcends your relationships. So it's good. I'm telling you, ladies, look, y'all, and get up in the morning, you need to look your very best all day like you on Young and the Restless. That's awesome. You don't know who's going to knock on the door. You might have an emergency, and just for you. It's not even about other people. You deserve, the better you look according to what's your looking good. Everybody got a different idea of what looks good. Don't believe me? Go look on TikTok. Some people, I'm like, But hey, if you like it, I love it. Bottom line is the person you're with should be encouraging you, not discouraging you. And so if they're trying to dim your light, you trying to take 2 steps forward, they're trying to pull you back. I don't know. That's not going. I'm going to go to the next one. This one's really good. Are you sleeping with the enemy? Does he invest in you? And I've had some people say, well, why the man got to do all this? I've heard comments that, there's a lot of talk about money in here. Well, let me explain something to you. I am not God. I'm just a messenger. And in God's divine order, he has us all positioned, if you trying to be Christian, to be blessed. What is blessing? Blessing is not just money. Blessing is good health. Blessing is wisdom. Blessing is being in favorable positions. Okay? But God has, why have blessings? Why are we working towards anything? God has a spiritual economy. Blessings are evidence of a spiritual economy. And so according to how you measure up and what you're able to achieve spiritually and position yourself and please and impress him, then he what? He gives you grace, he gives you blessings, he gives you favor, and he gives you overflow. That's a spiritual economy. God will invest in you when you meet the mark with him. And so in his divine plan, he has made man the head. Okay, so there's an expectation on man. And so, when you're with a man, and this is twofold, because, ladies, we want men to do all this, but we have to be careful not to be the enemy. I did say that. I'm going to talk about him first. Is he investing in you, the man you're with? And you look back on your life and say, well, God, since I've been with him, my life is better. We have been able to achieve thus and so. We've been able to move from point A to point B. Not just financially. Where are you spiritually? Where is your prayer life? Has this man been able to elevate your belief system? Can he tell you, honey, we're going to do this, and without a shadow of a doubt, Danny say we're doing such and such. You can brag to your friends because you know it is going to come to pass. That's right. He's invested in you. Your living situation. Are you living better now than you were living when you met him? Your education. What has he taught? Have you been able to go back to school? Has he encouraged you to go back to school? Has he helped finance you going back to school? For single ladies, if you met someone, what has he invested in you and your children? Because to my single ladies, when you're dating someone, you're not dating for you, you're dating for y'all. He needs to be what you want your son to grow up to be, what you want your daughter to grow up to be with. He needs to be a good representative, and he needs to come. And if he don't understand that, that's definitely the enemy. But has this man invested in you? Or has he turned your whole situation around, Desiree? Like I said, are you sleeping with the enemy? We go through things. But going through things ought to be a season and not a lifestyle. We ought to not be always keeping our head above water, making a way where we can. Like good times. There's nothing good about that. At some point, we got to be the Jeffersons. We got to be moving on up. And that takes togetherness. That takes being on the same page. Yeah, that is the truth, Darlene. That's the truth. I come with the truth, honey. I mean, are you sleeping with the enemy? Some people been in hell so long that when you walking into your heaven, and they telling you high-minded, that looks strange to them. Y'all know any people like that? They got some people, Cynthia, that when you tell them, oh, I'm gonna get my credit card and get a house, they say, girl, you can't do that. That ain't legal. Oh my God, they just so used to being down in the mud till even the dry dirt looks strange, let alone green grass and the beach. That's crazy. You gotta think about that. Some of us, we friends with the enemy. You gotta check your whole surroundings. But I'm gonna stick to this. Are we sleeping with the enemy? What have they done to invest in you financially, educationally? Ladies, if you say you want to start a business, how long you going to do hair in your house? He can't help you build one little room on the back. You can start off with a little shop. Sometimes you got to think. They be all in front of the camera celebrating what this one album and that one's album and J-Lo and this and that. But the minute I want to be J-Lo, that's the situation. Why I can't glow up? Why I can't be fabulous? Nope. Yeah. I'm just throwing it out there. Are you sleeping with the enemy? How is this person treating you? Are they always criticizing you? Do they make you feel good or feel bad about yourself? I'm going to tell y'all right now, y'all don't need, making excuses for bad behavior. We got to stop doing that, ladies. We got to stop making excuses for bad behavior because, you see, unlike men, hey, Myra, men can always reach back and get somebody younger. I'm talking real. But ladies, we get older. So don't let your good years be wasted playing with the enemy. Somebody who don't mean you no good. They don't love you. They just love the way you love them. You convenient, But they're not really trying to build anything with you. You need to be aware. We have to be aware of that. And same thing for the men. If you got a purpose, Martin Luther King couldn't do what he did if it wasn't for Coretta ironing his shirts and getting his ties and the suits ready for him to be going out trying to overcome. If you don't have the right person with you, you will always be trying to overcome, but you will never get to the promised land. Y'all better evaluate that. That's real. And you look at all these celebrity couples. One thing about it, crazy as they are, we can look back 10 years ago with Tiny and T.I. and see I think they done got divorced 3 times, or they was trying to get divorced 3 times, whatever. They've still made progress. They don't live where they used to live. They cut some more albums. And even if somebody's not making progress in something you would do, they're still making progress. Kim and Kanye. Y'all know that's a situation. But Kanye didn't have $1 billion when he got with Kim. And they've traveled the world. And at one point, they was even having praise and worship. I mean, we saw change. You saw the manifestation of something happening. Something ought to be happening. The person you're with ought to be promoting you. If you like to cook, they should be trying to figure out if it's your desire to have a restaurant. How are we going to do that? So now I want to back up to something that Sabrina said. I've told you, are you sleeping with the enemy? How would you know they're the enemy? They're trying to dim your light. They're not investing in you. They maintain relationships with people who are not about you, not on you. I don't understand that. They try to sabotage you from getting ahead. They're always criticizing you. Certain things that men do. And I don't care what kind of man it is. They are all alike. That's one thing when people say all men are alike. That's right. Never let him dim your light. He ought to be telling you, you fabulous. He ought to be taking you. If you want to look like Cardi B, he ought to be helping you. Get the Brazil, the BBL, if that's what you want. That's going to make you feel better. He ought to be on your side. That's why, not criticizing you. Now, I don't really know why you want, but hey, whatever makes you smile. He ought to be putting a smile on your face. And ladies, same thing. You ought to be putting a smile on his face. We don't want to sleep with the enemy, and don't let the enemy make you the enemy. I love y'all. Have Have a blessed night. It's just certain things that men do. And I don't care what kind of man it is. They're all alike. That's one thing when people say all men are alike. That's right. Never let him dim your light. He ought to be telling you, you fabulous. He ought to be taking you. You want to look like, if you want to look like Cardi B, he ought to be helping you. Get the Brazil, the BBL, if that's what you want. That's going to make you feel better. He ought to be on your side. That's why, not criticizing you. Now, I don't really know why you want, but I mean, hey, whatever makes you smile. He ought to be putting a smile on your face. And ladies, same thing. You ought to be putting a smile on his face. We don't want to sleep with the enemy, and don't let the enemy make you the enemy. I love y'all. Have a blessed night.